In our last series, we talked a little bit about how the church is the bride of Christ. And I love that metaphor, really. It's one of the reasons why I love to serve at a church. Because I believe that by serving at a church, by giving to a church, by blessing a church, I'm serving, giving, blessing the bride of Christ. And so if I am grateful to Jesus for what he's done, then one of the most tangible ways for me to express that gratitude is by being generous with his bride and my time and my money and my love. A few years ago, I got a phone call from a guy I didn't know very well. He was a ministry leader from out of town, and he just said, "Hey, Dave Stone really helped me out." He said, I had this conference and I needed somebody to speak, and he came in and filled in, did an incredible job, and I just was trying to find a way to express my gratitude to him. And he said, I was wanting to get him a nice gift card somewhere as a way to say thank you. And this guy was wanting me to tell him where to get a gift card for Dave. And he had some good ideas. He said, well, I was thinking about, getting him a gift card at a golf shop, or I was thinking about getting him a gift card at a nice steakhouse. And I said, hey, those are good ideas. But if you're really wanting to express your gratitude to Dave, the best way I think you can do that is by being generous with Beth. Like if you really want him to know how much you appreciate him, do something generous for his wife. Like get her a gift card at a furniture store. I was trying to help him out a little bit. Get him a gift card at a furniture. If you get her that will express to him gratitude. Like the best way I know to say thank you to him is to be generous with his bride. Right? And I believe that there's this kind of dynamic for us when we, as followers of Jesus, have been forgiven, we have been loved by God, we've received this grace and forgiveness, and we are overwhelmed by his generosity towards us, and we can express that generosity through giving to his bride. So generosity is a test, it's a test of gratitude. And in fact, I think we could say this very strongly, that generosity and gratitude have a symbiotic relationship. You really don't have one without the other. And so you show me someone who is generous, and I'll show you someone who's grateful. And you show me someone who's really grateful, I don't even have to ask. I'll show you someone who's really generous. And by the way, the opposite's true. You show me someone who is entitled and always complaining, and I'll show you someone who doesn't give very much. And you show me someone who doesn't really give, and I'll show you someone who's probably entitled and always complaining. Like generosity and gratitude are symbiotic. They go together. Where there's one, you'll find the other. And we see this connection in scripture, but we also see it in science. I read an article this week called Generosity and the Neuroscience of Gratitude. It was a secular publication, but it was just citing different studies that show how generosity and gratitude go hand in hand, both on a psychological, but also on a neurobiological level. Dr. Judith Moskowitz from Northwestern University did this study, and she concludes that our brains create a gratitude generosity loop. That when we're grateful, it prepares us to be generous. And when we're generous, it teaches us to be grateful. Like you just don't have one without the other. Gratitude and generosity go together. And so the Bible tells us in 1 Thessalonians 5, here's God's will for you. Like for anyone who's ever wanted to know, God, what's your will for my life? Here it is. Be joyful always, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstances. Be grateful in any and every circumstance. And when we do that, it changes so much of how we see the world. It changes us. Wall Street Journal summarizes some of the research on gratitude. It says, adults who frequently and are intentionally grateful have more energy, more optimism, more social connections, more happiness than those who are not. According to some of these studies conducted over the past decade, people who are intentionally grateful are less likely to be depressed, envious, or greedy. They earn more money, sleep more soundly, exercise more regularly, age more slowly, and give more generously. That connection is so strong, I think you could preach a sermon on generosity and really just talk about gratitude, because in the end, as we grow in gratitude, we become generous.